just got honored by the CMA, and it was for lifetime achievement, and it was a good time to reflect on everything. And this award gave me an opportunity to do that because I did some interviews and people started saying, well, how'd you get in the business? My degree says sociology, but I basically majored in the student union. So got to buy talent. Then I bought a lot called the Paragon Agency in Macon, Georgia, which was home of Capricorn Records. Went there. Ian Copeland was an agent who'd been there about a year. Ian decided to move to New York and start his own agency. He asked me to go with him, and I did. At one point, we had 1, 2, and 3 on the charts. We had Joan Jett, Go-Go's, and the Police. 5 years into it, I signed Amy Grant. You don't have enough time on your hard drive for me to get into that story. ICM called me and said, hey, we love what you've done. You've been successful. Will you move out to LA to run our West Coast office? So yeah, I'll try that. And then when country started blowing up, even ICM said, hey, what about going to Nashville and starting an office there? And meanwhile, CAA was flirting around with the idea too. And I jumped ship and joined Ron Baird. And we opened the first office of CAA outside of Los Angeles in '91. And now we have offices all over the world.
So tell us about Ryan.
Ryan went to Pepperdine, graduated in 4 years. We thought he was going to live in California, but he missed Nashville after being in LA for 4 years. He said, I want to come back to Nashville, and he did. And had several different jobs in the business, and last year he was trying to manage some bands, and I was always there. I'm there for you. Tell me what you need me to do, but I want to give you your space. And turns out that the week he passed, he had it was kind of like we got a couple of phone calls saying he was acting funny, he was acting weird. It was kind of like some bipolar attack, and he was acting really funny. And he was March 30th of 2014, and on the 29th of Saturday, we convinced him to come over to the house, and we were visiting, and he was uber happy, manic euphoria. And he did stuff like saying how he understood what Jesus died for and what we as humans are supposed to do and the living experiences. He was weird. He had 2 different shoes on, 2 different kind of socks on, this ugly pair of pants, a mismatched shirt. He looked like so disheveled. I said, would you go share this with a friend of mine? And so meanwhile, I'm calling my psychiatrist friend and go, hey, my son, something's wrong. I was telling him to come by 11 o'clock on Monday. So on Sunday, I called him and just said, hey, I got you an appointment. Here's the address, 11 o'clock. This guy's great. Just go chat and let's figure this thing out, Well, I left that on his voicemail, and he shot himself on Sunday. One of the frustrating part was when trying to figure out the church we belonged to only sat like 250 people. And I said, there's gonna be more than 250 people. We gotta find a different place to do it. And then went to his alma mater high school and asked them, and they rejected it, wouldn't let the service happen there because he committed suicide, and thought that would be the ideation of that would create a follow-up. Or you don't want to glorify what happened, but then again too, you talk about the blessings that he was to your life and to the world, and you want to look at the good part of it. So it's like, God, man, it's such a fine line on how to forward.
And your absolute worst day, we can't be there for you because of how things might look. Does that piss you off?
Yeah, and they were there, but they just didn't want a public facing of that.
The stigma that, I don't know if it was exactly preached when I was a kid, and like, you're gonna commit suicide, you're going to hell, whatever that thing. Correct. I always thought, well, who had a worse day than the person that did that? I know a God with the grace that's just so much bigger and wider than that. I'm like, that doesn't jive at all with me, because that person had a really, really bad day, and God's comfort and grace are with that soul in a way that I couldn't, would never accept that again.
The God of our understanding and God of creation would send someone to hell because they were so desperate that they would take their life. So my son's in hell, I want to go to hell to be with him.